Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritual Brainstorm. Welcome to the 88th episode. In this episode, I'd like to discuss the key importance of how we define ourselves, what we say about ourselves. Like when, for instance, you go to a party and people say, "Hi, I'm, Martin, and I'm, Brian." And then they say, "What do you do?" Or what's like they're trying to get to know you. What you say about yourself is really, really key, and what you think about yourself as well. And it plays, in my mind, an essential role in our own experience. So let's just say that you have like a typical day, and during that day, you have plenty of events. Like you live your life, and plenty of events come into your life, into your daily experience. Like you have, for instance, a pigeon. Oh my God, terrible. That craps on your head. You have a a dog shit where you step in, and then you also have somebody giving you like a free drink in the street. You have somebody that's smiles at you, big smile. Somebody that looks pissed and is not smiling at you. I mean, you have just thousands of different events happen to you during your day. And the way that you define yourself, in my mind, is what sort of brings certain events to the fore, and then certain events that you will ignore or that will just fly by and you wouldn't even notice. It's like a filter, how you define yourself. So, like, just imagine this thought experiment, for instance. If you define yourself as someone that has bad luck, then all of these events where some like you step in this dog shit, or like a bird craps on your shoulder, they're going to take a real prominence. They're going to come to the foreground of your life and of the events that you perceive or that you sort of pay attention to. And you're likely to ignore other ones, like, for instance, the fact that somebody offered you a drink. Either you're just going to look the other way, like by chance, maybe, or you're going to take that drink, but you're not going to think much of it. And you're not going to like sort of remember it or put it in a list of the good things that happened during your day. But these events, they're going to go directly on your list. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to say, oh, if you had to sum up your day and what happened during that day, you'll remember this and you will completely forget about this. So, in a way, like you could say that events that come into your come into your life, come into your daily experience, it's just like as if you were in a boat rafting, and you were in a river, and all these events are like water, they're like flowing towards you. And imagine if you set up dams in certain places of that river, of flowing events. And in some of those places where you have the dams, then the water sort of accumulates and stagnates. And those dams are represent the way you define yourself, because they're the things that are going to enable you to sort of hang on to or notice things that would otherwise sort of pass right through you or pass by. Like, you'd like hit a rock or some rapids or whatever, or a patch of smelly water. It would just go right by you, and you would probably notice the stench, and then it would be gone the next minute. But if you put a dam there, then you're going to smell it for a lot longer. And so that's why it's so important, the way that we define ourselves, is because basically that's events. They're just going to stick to you a little longer, or with you a little longer, and you're going to experience them in a much more prominent way than if you didn't have that dam there. And so, I mean, do this thought experiment, for instance, with me. Imagine if you go into a room and you smile at people and people smile at you back. Would you define yourself as the person who is smiled at? Would you even think or consider label yourself in that manner? Like, for instance, to say about yourself when people are saying like, "Hi, how are you? What can you tell me about yourself?" Well, when I go into a room, people smile at me. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's basically. And again, that would bring this event to the fore. Like when somebody smiles at you, oh my God, this face is so creepy, terrible at drawing. But anyways, you get the point. Wow, it looks almost evil. Anyways, um, so nobody would think of defining themselves in that way. And that's because we have certain filters already, like cultural or social filters, societal, which, make it possible to build certain dams or normal to build certain dams and not others. Like, for instance, you would build a dam saying, I'm working in this job, or I'm doing this as work, or this is who I am, or, this is what I'm doing. I'm a musician, I'm this, I'm that. And that creates dams in your life where, you attract to you certain events, or certain events stick around. But other things like, I'm the person who walks, or I'm the person who looks at clouds. There's just certain things that you would never even consider as a way of defining yourself. But defining yourself is a really, really important step, and you have to do it in a sort of a conscious way, because wherever you put a dam, it's better that you put a dam in places that you actually enjoy, that they stick around for a bit. And it's also nice to sort of remove them, because after a while, otherwise it will fester. Just like water that stagnates. It's never good when something stagnates too much. And that's the part of like letting go, even things that you like, because otherwise this flow, this natural flow of life and those things that come your way will not be able to come to you, because it's blocked by all the water that's stagnating in various dams that you've set up by defining yourself. And of course, this is easier said than done, because I have plenty of problems with that as well, and we're used to routine, being scared of change. I mean, that's my case, for instance. I mean, I like things to be predictable, comfortable. I don't like, to change my furniture, and too much. I don't like to change jobs too much. And at the same time, I realized that, basically when you feel like really depressed, down, that you don't want to do anything, it's that kind of phenomenon where your life stagnates because you've set up all these dams around you, and bringing them down can be extremely painful and difficult. And this is especially the case, for instance, in certain circumstances. Like, for instance, if you are in the perpetrator or the victim, or even the savior triangle. Like, for instance, if you consider yourself a victim, then you think that it's not up to you to break those dams down. You think that your perpetrator should come and apologize to you first, and that all perpetrators should be punished and locked away or whatever, and then those dams would magically disappear. But since you've defined yourself as a victim, you've set up a dam, and then of all the events that can come your way, guess which ones are going to stick and are going to be there in big prominence? Well, any event that will put you in a place of being the victim. And for the perpetrator, it's about guilt and self-hate. And because there's no way that you can survive hating yourself, you're stuck in a awkward position where you're forced to kind of love the perpetrator's side, or being so guilty that you're in denial of your perpetrator's side. And then either you're in denial of even having those dams, and so you're a perpetrator but not even being conscious of the damage that you do to other people. And then when somebody says, "Oh, but you did this and you harmed me here and there," then you have these people saying, "What? No, never. I would never." And and then basically you're a perpetrator without even knowing you're a perpetrator, or you think that because there's no way to hate yourself, then you're actually loving and completely, fully embracing the fact that you're a perpetrator, and then doing it on purpose. Like these people that are, like almost you feel like you feel they're doing it on purpose. Well, they are, because they they resist absolutely this pressure of the victim on them, of having to hate themselves for what they are and what they've done, because the victims very rarely ask them, like saying, "Okay, you know what, we'll just put an end to this game, we'll just put an end to this relationship of victim perpetrator, and let's just completely quit playing that game, and let's start fresh with another kind of relationship." It's more like this: first you have to apologize and say how a horrible person you are, and of course, uh, loving yourself is the first precondition for anything. If you hate yourself, then you cannot advance at all in life. The battle against yourself is the most horrible battles, of course. So that will never happen. And so both of these are locked. And then the savior is also locked, as in like this sense of duty to save the world, this pressure. And sometimes you go from one to the other. Like the perpetrator, when he gets out of the stage of the perpetrator, then he has to become the savior to sort of how should I say, to repay all of the bad deeds that he had done to save people. And then by trying to save people, he becomes the victim of certain people that cannot be saved, and that sort of abuse their willingness to become a savior, and like ask them to do things, and more and more and more extreme, to the point where they become the victim. Then they become, I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible, terrible triangle that is very hard to sort of break out of. Um, so yeah, I hope this was interesting, and maybe it will make you think about original ways of sort of defining yourself when events come your way during your day. Saying, remarking, like noticing, even like, I don't know, chirping of the birds, or the beautiful sunsets, and you can say, "I'm the person who enjoys beautiful sunsets," or "I'm the person that um, um, enjoys listening to birds chirping," or something like that. And just play around with it, and see what happens when you bring certain of these dams down, and you practice just setting some up temporarily, and then bringing them down again, and see if that changes anything about your life experience. And especially how, if you're able to get out of this vicious triangle, which most people are actually stuck in one way or another. So feel free to comment. I hope this video was interesting, and talk to you in the next video.